Hi there, Ragnar, and welcome to the Color Cinema. My name is Aaron, and tonight we are looking at Vinegar Syndrome. I probably get asked about Vinegar Syndrome more than any other company that I talk about, to the point that at one time my nickname was Mr. Vincent. I actually that was my name on Twitter for a while. People got confused and thought that I worked with Vinegar Syndrome, so ended up changing it to Mr. Color Cinema. But still, Vinegar Syndrome is one of my favorite companies. And tonight we're going to look at my complete uh, collection with slipcovers for Vinegar Syndrome. I started it pretty early, so there's a lot of stuff to see, and let's have fun with this. Hey there. One of the questions I got asked a lot was basically how and when did I get into Vinegar Syndrome? Well, it's actually pretty easy. With Vinegar Syndrome, it was a company that had a lot of the films that were my taste, were definitely my thing. And I was in Ottawa. We had been looking for stuff. We're shopping. We'd been there for a Comic Con, and I wanted to shop for some movies. I wasn't having very much luck. So we're going around looking for stores, looking for shops that we can actually go into and do some shopping. And we come across this record store, and he said, "There's this other store. It's just around the corner, and you go up these stairs, and they have some cool stuff there. You might want to check them out." So we were kind of tired. We were going to just let it go. We were going to do it. Then all of a sudden, it it kind of happened. We went and decided, you know what, this is going to be our thing. We are going to go in. We're going to check the. I got to make sure that actually people can see me on here. If you can see me, please let me know. We're going to make sure that look at my channel, make sure that I'm live and it's not private. Look at my channel, make sure that I'm live and it's not private. Looks like it's there. All right, so we're going to make sure that the stuff that we looked at, was going to be get some really good stuff. So I'm looking for all this stuff there. There's some Blue Underground, there's some Raro video, there's a whole bunch of stuff. It's the type of thing when, as a collector, you go into, and it's more than a little bit overwhelming, but it's the type of place you really hope is going to come along, and it did. And for that, let's see if I was extremely excited. I still don't know if people can see me, but say hi if you can, because I want to start this video. Because we have a bunch of slipcover Vinegar Syndromes to look at. I'll let you know my thoughts on them as we go through, what I thought of the films, why I got them. When you curate, it helps to know exactly what you like. Hey there, Alan. Hey there, Musing. um, as much as I love a good collection of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like the Vestron stuff or MVD rewinds, and I try to get as much as I possibly can. There comes a point where you're like, "Hey there, Coach Man." um, you're like, I just don't want to get something just to get it. I want a lot of the MVD stuff, but do I really want Savannah Smiles? Probably not. Even though it's not a bad film. Let's start off. We're going to do in no particular order here. I was going to do this like numerically, but then I decided it'd be more fun to go through it like in a different way that we can see. But let's do the first one though. That's one I do want to go see. Vinegar Syndrome, when they started doing their slipcovers. Let me find it right here. There's one that kind of that started the whole thing, and I know it's here. It was And when they did it, I wasn't actually sure if I was going to be into their slipcovers because it was the word, I guess the best word for it, it was kind of tight. It was one that stood out for maybe not the right reasons. And that happens. You'll have certain ones that'll stand out for like good reasons, and other ones that won't stand out for exactly the right reason. But I ended up kind of falling in love with the slipcover, and it is. I think these are the first two, so we'll go with the first two first. This is Joe Spinell's The Undertaker. Now, The Undertaker had been put out before. It was put out by Code Red, but they put out not the best edition of the film, and I guess not the correct director's edition of the film either. This was the first slipcover. It had like a coffin type cutout box. There were bloody fingerprints along here. It was smeared and smudged, like supposed to be smeared and smudged. And when you went to get it out, to this very day, it's still extremely tight. So you think with that, maybe that would be, that might be it. They might be going, but people kind of fell in love with this. They thought it was extremely, that, still the complaints were, this is a really, really tight slipcover. That being said, people are like, those are like some heavy duty slipcovers at the time. Normally what we saw were these really thin ones, just to give you like an example. There's a bunch up there. I'm not sure if you can see them, but, or even right along. Nope, I can't get to any of them right now. But the slipcovers used to be really thin. Then they put out the second one, and this one kind of blew people's minds because this one was special because when people saw it in the store, one of the things good about Vinegar Syndrome, and one of the things that initially Vinegar Syndrome used to do was they would put out movies that nobody else put out, but they were movies you'd remember, or movies that you'd seen in video stores. They weren't like your mainstream blockbuster Hollywood movies. No, these movies had a personal connection to people, and that's what kind of set them apart at the time. They were hitting on films that you'd either seen late night on TV or you'd walk by in your video store and you'd probably seen it, maybe you even picked it up, but maybe you didn't buy the movie at that time. Jack Frost is a good example of that. Jack Frost was known back in the day for being a VHS with a lenticular slipcover that really stood out on the movie shelves, and actually wasn't a bad film. Shannon Elizabeth was in this one here as well. And it is fun. It is cheesy. If you really want the sequel, you can get it. It's Revenge of the Killer Snowman, and it was out by MVD Rewind, as well as this one is now, because I think this is going out of print from Vinegar Syndrome. Now, this here slipcover, much like the Undertaker slipcover, is obviously long out of print, which is a shame because I actually really kind of dig this. So I was so excited and glad to get that in the back in the day. Now we're gonna go random because I want to have like kind of cool things in between. Norman J. Warren, a fantastic box that was put up by Indicator Films prior to Norman J. Warren passing. But they did some really good stuff with Norman J. Warren films on Vinegar Syndrome as well. One of my favorites, and this one was sent to me, but one of my favorite Norman J. Warren films is right here in my hand right now, and it's also one of my favorite slips. And just in the way it's done, it's kind of different. To have Demon Eyed, keep watching. Demon Eyed, I think you mean Demon Wind. Demon Eyed had a slip later on, and that was in lenticular, but Demon Wind may be popping up in the near future. It is. But here is Prey. Prey was just this fantastic Norman J. Warren film that really had about 3 people in it. And I I really enjoyed it. You want to see it this early? Because I can bring it out. Let's see. I kind of want to get rid of some of the other ones first, though. So we'll get there. We'll get to Demon Wind. But yes, you're going to see Demon Wind here tonight. Penitentiary 2, I grew up like loving these penitentiary films, and this one right here is, it's no exception. This one is insane. The first penitentiary films, hey there, Trekkipedia, welcome, man, is pretty much just like a fairly, kind of serious for what it is type of film. This one totally goes off the rails. They replace the lead villain. It's the same like villain, just a different actor. The actor is Ernie Hudson. And we got Mr. T in this one. Glenn Turman is in this one as well. Here, Rudy Ray Moore is in this. So, needless to say, truly, this one truly goes completely off the rails. I mean, it's the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't have it, but I've heard really good things about it. So, is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre one worth picking up? Their 4Ks have been really good so far. I don't have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 one, but the one that I do have is really good. I'm not sure about the Dark Skies. If you're talking about that one, then Dark Skies normally pretty good with that type of stuff. Only have a couple of their retro covers, and this one was sent to me by a viewer, and I was so excited because the cover to this movie actually wasn't very good. It's one of the least attractive covers for from Vinegar Syndrome, and I'll show you the covers first, actually. So this was the original cover for Christmas Evil. This is the slip. This Christmas, you better believe in Santa Claus, or he'll slay you. Utterly adore that one. And by coincidence, actually, Couch, here it is right here. Probably one of the most popular and at the time kind of sought after Vinegar Syndrome lenticulars right there with Jack Frost is Demon Wind. Not only is it a really cool cover, it's a really cool movie. Something that I got to say I did enjoy, because who doesn't want to see kung fu magicians and ghostly porn stars? So, or zombie ghost porn stars, but it's definitely a very cool film, and I love this. I could do this forever. I'm like a 12-year-old. We go from there to one that was slightly controversial, because when this round of slips were coming out, they tend to resemble other artwork, and it was kind of mentioned at the time. But here's the right here, and this is Bloodbeat. Bloodbeat. This is a Christmas horror film. Not many people like take this as a Christmas horror film anymore, but because unfortunately, not enough people have seen this film. But this is a Christmas horror film with a ghostly samurai warrior possession. I couldn't make that up if I tried. Actually, with my weird imagination, I probably could. But this is a lot of fun. Bloodbeat has a similar look to another film. If you want to look it up, you can. But I'll stay out of the controversy. This is one that I picked up. I love the slipcover of this one. It's not one of my favorite films. But sometimes when you buy from Vinegar Syndrome, you buy in the package. And I bought the Halloween package almost every year in a row, except for like last year. And not because I didn't like it, but because I wasn't there to pick it up. But Corpse Grinders is a Ted V. Michaels film. It's not his best film. It's not even close to being his best film, but it tends to be a bit of a fan favorite. It's a little bit of a weird film. Co-written by Art Chow Sr. Art Chow Jr. was, of course, the guy that was in like Iga and Wild Guitar and so many other films. But his dad really kind of pushed for him to be the next like Elvis and got him in movies and all this type of thing. And his dad helped write this film right here. It's fun exploitation for what it is, but it's not the strongest Ted V. Michaels film to get it there. Obviously, a favorite from everyone is The Fear. I do like this movie. I know I'm in the minority when it comes to this one, but the slipcover here is gorgeous. By the way, if I don't show the back, want me to show the back, remind me to do that, because sometimes I will forget. I dug this one. It was kind of a 90s, 2000s, 90s, I think 90s horror film that was very cheesy, wasn't like exactly an expensive film to make, but it's one that I really enjoyed. This is the first one I'm going to kind of censor. And this is The Hitcher in the Dark. So The Hitcher in the Dark, no, not The Hitcher. The Hitcher in the Dark is an interesting little film by Umberto Lenzi. Now, the reason I am kind of like covering it here is because it you in the glasses you can see a dead body, and there's boobs in them, and then their glasses. So got to cover that up. But it's actually a cool little film. Umberto Lenzi wanted to do something different with the and there's even I even got a censor the back cover too. Um, he wanted to do something kind of different with the film with the ending. I'm glad he didn't, because I like the ending that's there. Like I don't mind a good nihilistic ending as much as anyone, but Hitcher in the Dark, Josie Bissett, and I kind of want to see. It's not a bad movie. Hitcher in the Dark is actually pretty cool. I so was not going to miss out on this. We've seen the dinosaur pajamas sell out very quickly, twice. It was one of the more talked about films by the director Ruben Galando Jr. It came out third. It was the last of the three to come out. But when it did, even though the one that came out previously had a ton of copies left, the one that came out before it actually sold out during that weekend. So this, of course, is Don't Panic from Ruben Galando Jr. It's one of the three Ruben Galando Jr. films that came out. It's fun. It's cheesy. It's kind of, hey there, Dustin, welcome, man. It's kind of his I guess it's Friday is his Nightmare on Elm Street. We'll go with it. Kind of his Nightmare on Elm Street, but it's a lot of fun, and I really enjoy it. Oh, Dustin, early ones that I put here that you may have missed, but I'm going back is Demon Wind, Jack Frost, and of course their very first one, The Undertaker. Don't Panic, so much fun. I was one of the last people to keep my 3D TV, and now it has a nice home there with my dad. Can you fight part two? Making a book called Sackhead is good. I did not know that was a thing, but I definitely want to look into it. Friday 13 part two is one of my favorites. And Silent Man is coming out. Hey there, Mark. Welcome, man. Silent Madness was one of those movies that I definitely wanted to check out because it's been so long since I've seen it, and I didn't see this in 3D before. But the 3D in this is actually pretty good. Uh, Not my favorite 3D, but they do a pretty good job on it. I always remember this cover. This is the cover that I knew from Silent Madness. That's the interesting little slipcover, and I got to say I do enjoy it, and I do like the back on that one as well. This one came with two slipcovers. I chose to keep on the traditional one, and this is Fade to Black. Again, another favorite movie of mine. With this one starred, oh god, from Breaking Away. I'm going to cheat now, and Dennis Christopher, yeah, Dennis Christopher from Breaking Away. But also had like some really cool actresses in there. The actress in here was also in Alien from LA, and she looks like kind of Marilyn Monroe looked like in this, and she really has the damn patch. She's an Australian actress, but this is a really good film. People tend to, if people go in haven't seen it like years ago and they're going in for the first time to watch this film, some people too tend to get disappointed because they think this is a slasher film. So like you've never seen this film, just like a heads up, it's a psychological thriller, um, which because it came out around the time the slasher genre, it kind of got like lumped in with the slasher genre, but it's not that. So if you ever go in watching this movie thinking you're going to get a slasher movie with kind of a lot of like super gory deaths and like murder set pieces, it's not what it is. It's about a guy that really loves films who loses it like completely and starts to dress up like some of his favorite film characters so that he can go and kill people and scare first not to kill in the beginning first just to scare, but it kind of steamrolls and goes from there. But it's not like a slash film. It's not like he's going out with these different masks constant like Terror Train. My personal favorite of the Ruben Galando Jr. movies. Oh, actually, no, not this one. My second favorite is this one here, Cemetery of Terror. This is a fun little weird film. It's kind of like if you took, I don't know, The Gate and put it to Night of the Living Dead and sprinkled in Michael Jackson's Thriller. That's kind of what Cemetery of Terror is. This is a lot of fun, and this is a movie with a high rewatchability factor. It's another one of the Ruben Galando Jr. films. I'm not quite sure how many he put out, but I will tell you this: you've got three out there now. If there's any more like this, uh, totally put these out. Vinegar Syndrome. It's amazing stuff, and the slips on these are extremely cool. Next up's another famous horror director, and it is Jose Alraz with Rest in Pieces. Was the only one dubbed? It is the only one dubbed in English. Hey there, Matt. Welcome, man. I hope the podcast went well today. Um, I did a live stream on Twitch, on my Twitch channel. So for anybody that checked out, thank you so much. I sent a link over to Matt. He was busy at the time, but he got back to me and told me he was doing something, so he couldn't come in. I really like that actually. So super props for that. This is fun. I mean, it's not Jose Larraz's best film, but there's definitely a lot of fun to have with this one. If you're a soap opera fan, for instance, you're probably going to remember like Scott Thompson Baker because he acted in a bunch of that, a bunch of those films, soap operas, and the Patty Shepard's in here as well. So Dorothy Malone too. You got some really cool people here, and I think I got to put this backwards, so I can never tell which way is the front. I think this is the front. So let's put this in right. This is this. And we'll put it in like this. I love Larraz. I love like even the weird Larraz films that nobody likes, like Black Candles. I love Black Candles. I showed this in my 4K collection, but it's part of the slipcover stuff, so I did want to show it again. And I did want to like say when the next sale comes up, if you're looking for Christmas horror, you cannot go wrong with Deadly Games. Dog Code Santa Claus. It's so good. It's so good, and I definitely recommend it. It's a really good film. Does not get the props it deserves, and it's a real shame because it is utterly gorgeous to look at. Its score is haunting, and the Bonnie Tyler song sticks with you in the creepiest sort of way. It even has the music video for it there. And as a guy that grew up like loving Bonnie Tyler, to find that song, which I had forgotten existed. Don't forget the infamous Jack Taylor. True, I did forget him. That is bad on me, man. I dig the hell out of this film. I had a copy of this when I was in college, my second year of college. It was a VHS copy. It was so dark that I could not tell the day scenes from the night scenes. So seeing this was a complete revelation. And when you ever wonder, like, okay, what's the difference between like the old days of VHS or to like even to DVD to Blu-ray? This is the difference. Oh, you definitely need to see who done it. It is a lot of fun, and it's got this kind of this kind of punkish song in it that they play over and over again. Some people like hate that fact. Let me just grab. I'm gonna mute myself for 1 second because I need to take a drink, and then we're gonna go on to the next one, which is the third in the Laraz trilogy. Hey there, Mike. Welcome, man. Thoughts on Alien from LA, a movie that I initially thought I hated, and when I got it, Mike, I was so wrong, and I ate crow so quickly because that is such a good film. What makes Alien from LA an actual really kind of interesting and unique title is that Albert Pian has gone out, and he had gone out. Rest in peace, man. But he went out and made this like whole world with hardly any budget at all, and that is something that you really gotta like admire, like to take the budget that he had to make this world and really make it work. Uh, so big props for me for Alien from LA. Here is Cemetery of Terror, which is Jose Larraz's version of Friday the 13th. Now, of course, this one is definitely a lot more supernatural than the original Friday the 13th were, but this is a really good title and has some of the higher amounts of rewatchability on here as well. Oh, the UK. I understand what you mean. I understand what you mean, especially now, Mark Moore than ever. I live in Marrakesh in Morocco, so it makes it harder for me to get this stuff. So when I went home, for instance, they had the big sale, the big 10 for 10 sale, and I didn't pick up a lot. I picked up around like 5 or 6 titles, but I won't have those until I get back to Canada again. So if you know somebody that like lives in like that area, or you got somebody in the UK that collects like you do, sometimes people go in together to actually kind of save on the shipping, and they'll do kind of a combined order. I don't know enough people where I'm at, especially that that like films to do that. Don't you love Room Galano though? This is a really cool. I love this film. I really do love this film. An exploitation. You gotta love it, especially this one. Sudden Fury is one of these little sleeper hits that you don't know that you need to see until you see it. And then when you see it, the thing that comes to mind most of the time is, hey, I got to tell people about this film. It's one of those films. It's a sleeper hit and it deserves to be watched. And you get into like the kind of the trivia aspect of it, and you realize that one of the guys in this film is actually was a successful and famous uh, voice actor as well. So just look it up. He did some work on Inspector Gadget. Uh, but Sudden Fury is a really good film. It's one of those, if you haven't seen it, I do recommend that you check it out, because after you see it, you'll be recommending it to other people as well. Next up is one of my favorite films from Vinegar Syndrome. And a lot of you know this that watch my channel a lot, and that is Incubus. I actually was on Brian's channel podcast, Just a Disc, and we talked about this film. We both like love this movie. This is one of my favorite films that they ever put out, and it's just amazing the way this is done. Except for Todd, yeah. So if you've never seen Incubus, check it out. Don't watch the special features until you watch the movie, though. Just heads up. Next up, we have your Penitentiary by Gemma Fanaka, and like I said, with Penitentiary 2, which I showed earlier, uh, they also did the first Penitentiary. There's been issues getting Penitentiary 3, but eventually I'd like to see them get that. But this is one of my favorite slipcovers, and I think people tend to like neglect it, or not remember it among some of the more, maybe more, some of the flashier, some of the more known slipcovers that were put up with Vinegar Syndrome. One, Penitentiary is a fantastic film, and it's a much more serious film than Penitentiary 2. But just like this slip right here, it's a movie star Leon Isaac Kennedy, and we see like the boxer, and it's just like the made the choice, the artist did, to like have this kind of like really kind of like shinier boxing glove we can see coming out from the prison cell, and it just really pops. It really stands out. It's one of those that when you see it for the first time, it really catches your eye. It really gets your attention. And if I've had people come in that that don't know this stuff, I'll have something and highlight this one on the counter, or if I've just watched it, and they'll pick it up and look at it and ask about the film, or they'll say, "Oh, I kind of remember that film," and then we'll kind of talk about the cover, like the last where I got it at. Next up is another Norman J. Warren film, and not my favorite. It's a fun little feature, but definitely one of, for me, it was one of the lesser Norman J. Warren films, though they called it Norman J. Warren's Suspiria, uh, which I think is not something that sets it up to win. It's a setup for it to fail. If you call it anything other than Suspiria, Suspiria. Lucifer's Women. I don't have Lucifer's Women, but I do know I did see that slip, and it did look really nice. That's what I wish I had. But here is Tear. This one does have a really good slip to it. I love the way this is done. Have the inside here, and I think if I'm correct, it even has like a third, like art. Like, because a lot of times, like the artwork will be one of the, either the back or the front. But this one here actually has different artwork on the inside as well. And it's not a bad film by any like stretch of the imagination. But the fact that there's all those other Norman J. Warren films out there, uh, you know, Phyllis Davis, Sweet Sugar. I had just moved at the time to Nova Scotia, and there was a big Vinegar Syndrome sale. I admit we were tired. We weren't looking at sales or anything at that time, and it was late at night. And the this one and Red Mob were both up for sale, but they sold out almost immediately. Then Vinegar Syndrome did the one thing that really won them over for me in my eyes. They canceled multiple orders. So if anybody had ordered like two or three or five or something like that, that wasn't going to happen. All of a sudden, copies of Sweet Sugar and Red Mob were available for people to buy again. What did that mean for me? That was a big deal. It's a big deal for a lot of people because it let you know that even though they're doing these kind of limited edition slips, oh, the indicators, that's fantastic. I got over there, by the way. We're doing indicator really soon. Just let you know, Mark. Uh, they didn't just cater to the scalper. They wanted to cater to the movie collector, and of this won me a lot of like goodwill when it came to Vinegar Syndrome. They can make a few mistakes after that, and me still forgive it because this was pretty cool. Truly one of their best slips, and the fact that this one stayed in to and one of the better films too, like and legitimately like better film, one of the better films out there. Like in all seriousness, My Chauffeur. It's a great film. Deborah Foreman's in this one. We got Sam Jones in here, Howard Hessman, Penn Jillette. We have Teller in here as well, Penn and Teller. E.G. Marshall. It's a real excellent little film. You will fall in love with Deborah Foreman, like everybody does when it's here in a film because she's just so good. My Chauffeur was just an excellent little film. It was different from lots of Vinegar Syndrome was putting at the time, and this one here with the glossy lipstick was just really cool. It really surprised me that this one took so long to sell out because after it did, everybody wanted it. But before it just took forever. Yeah, Sweet Sugar with a Slip, excellent film. Slip or Not's a really good film. Thinking of another early Vinegar Syndrome slipcover edition that was put out is this one right here. I really do like the slip on this one, even though it wasn't very different from the actual case itself. It's the shininess. It looks really cool, and it's a film that I really enjoy. So, slip or not, I do think this is worth watching, worth having, and it's Psycho Cop Returns. Again, another one of the early slip covers that was put up with Vinegar Syndrome. I love for the longest time, like I just saw that as a blood stain. I did notice that was a screaming girl on the kind of in the badge, but yeah, it took me a while before I actually figured that out. Yes, Madam would be amazing. For those who don't know, Yes, Madam is I think it's Cynthia Roth, one of her first, right? If not her first, this was definitely one of her first. But Psycho Cop Returns, an early slip, and not one that you see around very often nowadays. Next up is Steel and Lace, more of a modern one. Um, I do enjoy this movie. This is a really good film. Um, Master Cash used to say whenever you see like a butt on the back of a Vinegar Syndrome slipcover, it wouldn't be like a good film. This is definitely an outlier when it comes to that because this is actually a really good film. We get a revenge film that does something different and lets you see experience as well, and as rather than like getting too exploded with it. You got to. Psycho Cop Returns is really good. Psycho Cop's okay. It's fun. Psycho Cop Returns is excellent. Eureka also put a mess. Yes, madam. Eureka puts a lot of good stuff. Madman 4K is a good. I still need that release, but I have Madman, so it's really hard for me to like rebuy certain ones. Ebola Syndrome. I'm not going to say a lot. Is it a decent slip? Yeah. It's good. I'm just not a fan of the film. I guess that's the best I can say with that one. But I did like Trauma. This is a underrated Argento film. It doesn't get a lot of attention normally. Um, I guess one of the most like famous things about it at the time was, Brad Dourif was in it. Like he had an early Ozzy Argento who does a kind of a like a blink and you miss type of nude sequence, like on the top of the scene. And she was younger at the time, but it wasn't anything that was like really kind of lingering on or exploited or anything like that. It just was, a part of the film itself. But Trauma is actually not a bad film, and I think it's a bit of a bad rap. We have Creature here. This is again one of the more modern slips, which we'll go through a lot of those too, as well as Ticks, which not only got a box but had a slipcover on the inside as well. This is usually what you see with Ticks, and honestly, I like this better. So I'm glad that there's a box to put this in because I'm not a big fan of the original artwork for the movie Tick. So and I remember that all of put it out. Another one that I have to censor is this one right here, which is The Laughing Dead. I'll be honest with you, I have not watched this movie yet, but have you even opened it? Yeah, I have opened it. But I was going to watch it one day. It was one of the last movies that if we hadn't packed, it was kind of fell behind a counter, so we hadn't had it packed. So I was going to watch it. I didn't end up getting to watch it, but I will do that soon. I get asked about Giallo a lot, and basically because I'm a huge Giallo fanatic. And these here are actually really fun. They really surprised me. Nothing Underneath and Too Beautiful to Die is a double feature from Vinegar Syndrome. It came out with incredible stuff. I love the way that this is done here. And here we go. Each one of them had their own Blu-ray, so it wasn't like both were put on like on one Blu-ray. It was a double feature. They got their own Blu-ray, and I really enjoy that. Next up is Blades, which I do have to give a rewatch to. It's one that I initially was not a big fan of, but I shall check it out again. Hey, Chris, welcome, man. You and your girlfriend are going to see Scream 6. I've been trying to get him to go with me to see Scream 6, and she continues to kind of duck it. So we'll see. I'm probably going to go see it myself. It's not as fun because Scream is kind of like one of those franchises that's definitely better watched with people you know. But but I really want to see it, so I'll probably go on my own. Jasmine thought it was safe to putt. It's an okay film. Devil's Story. Not a huge fan of the slipcover. I am a huge fan of this film. Is it good? No, not by any stretch of the imagination. But what it is fun. It's a lot of fun. Resurrection, uh, which I'm going to guess this is be a controversial subject for some people. He's coming. This is a kind of a 7 knockoff, but not a bad 7 knockoff. It's got Russell McKay, I think, directed this one, and it stars Christian Lambert. So it's going to look good. And I got to actually rewatch this. I watched this a while back, and I enjoyed it, but I was tired when I watched it, so I never got the full experience of it. Now, this was a really good film here, Shallow Grave. I did enjoy this one, and it's definitely one of the darker films. I kind of want to rewatch it, where the most feared killer wears a badge, which actually could work for a Psycho Cop, right? Some of the cheesy ones, but they're fun for what they are, is Annie Lee's Meat Pies. This is one that have a lot of like a lot of attractive girls in it. But if you go in there expecting more exploitation and nudity, you're not going to get that. If you go in there like kind of tempering that and not expecting to see that, it's a lot more fun. But I know some people were like, oh, God, "Where's the nudity?" If I was like when I was younger, I was like a kid, it was the same thing. I was always like, oh man, I would have liked this Friday 13th Part 6 a lot more if there would have been nudity in it. But when you're young, you think that's it. Girl School Screamers. It's cheesy fun. It is what it is. It's the trailer of this is actually really great. Doing more Vinegar Syndrome with or without slips? Good question. I'd say I probably am more with slips, but I don't like go out just to just to get like just for a slip. I'll never buy a movie like just for the slip. It's got to be a movie that I want to get in the first place. Like, except when I have a subscription, like then you got everything coming, right? But most of the time, if I'm picking up a movie that has a slip to it, that's because I like the film so. But it's just that Vinegar Systems put out a lot of stuff with slipcovers that I like. But if, say, for instance, a slipcover sells out, I will still buy the movie. It won't like deter me, and I won't have to go out and look for the slipcover on eBay or anything like that. Now, some people do, and all the power to them. But if then it gets to the point of like I can't buy certain movies because I got to get a slipcover for this. So, but it's what you collect. Everybody has their own collecting method. Tough Guys Don't Dance was one that was during the subscription, but I'm really glad I have this one, and I love the slipcover in this one here. It's directed by Norman Mailer, who was a prolific author. This was his directorial debut from his own novel. It's a different, uniquely weird kind of neo noir type of film with some very different choices acting wise in here. Uh, but I had a lot of fun with this. I love the slipcover. I think it's one of the better slipcovers that they had. I'm proud of some of the early slipcovers I got because when I show stuff like Demon Wind or Jack Frost or like Psycho Cop Returns, a lot of those were ones that people that missed out on at the time. And I'm hoping like through like their rewards thing, people are going to be able to get like different copies of it. They'll just have like something different on the side. But the covers will be exactly the same. The blood hook and stuff like that. Terminal Island's another great one. Again, this is one that I had forgotten. I thought it was a totally different movie. I thought it was a Pam Grier movie, so I got it confused with another film. But this is a lot of fun. I really enjoyed Terminal Island. Next up is Blood Harvest, and there was a bit of controversy, not behind this version of Blood Harvest, but there was a bit of controversy because right just before they put out Blood Harvest, 88 Films released Blood Harvest from the Slasher Classics collection. A viewer of the channel at the time, he actually went and found the 88 Films edition, bought it for me, and sent it to me because as soon as this was announced, 88 Films removed the Blood Harvest from their Slasher Classics collection and from the shelves as quickly as possible. There were some rights issues, so it became one of the more sought after 88 Films releases. And I think probably the rarest of the Slasher Classics that you can get. But I do love this one, and I did talk about this one on Jessica's podcast, which you should be listening to, as well as watching his YouTube channel because he has a good YouTube channel. This is one where I didn't like the slip until I saw it in person, and I'm kind of hoping this is the way it's going to be when I eventually get the severed arm. But this is The Killing Kind. Again, with John Savage, it's a really, really good film. When you look in there, you can actually see kind of like actors and kind of sequences from the film. And did you ever want to strangle your mother? Well, not really. I get along well with my mama. Like her a lot, actually. But it's definitely a good one. This one here was another one, Death by Temptation. I had a lot of fun with this movie. This is one I remembered wrong. I said, okay, this is like, yeah, George's gonna see it twice right now. Seven Arms, a nice slip. That's what everybody keeps telling me, RB. But I definitely have to see it in person. It's not translating over the computer screen. But everybody says that once you get the severed arm slip, you fall in love with it. And I got a feeling that's what's going to happen. I kind of want to leave this one for later because I kind of like that one. I want to have some big ones. So let's do Beyond the Door 3, which is Amok Train, is its original title. It's really just, one of those movies, kind of like where they put the Beyond the Door name on it. But it is a fun movie. It's a really fun film. And I was glad to get this one. That's the same way. Yeah, see, I get that all the time. I have to get that slip. I really do. That's one of the ones that I know I have to get. Next up, we have here Berserker, which is another one I really enjoyed. This one has, what's her name? I got Beth Toussaint. So you may not recognize the name Beth Toussaint, but if you ever look it up, you'll definitely recognize the actress. She's gorgeous. She's in this, and she's in, and very Pink Floyd looking back cover right there. Very good release. Body Melt was cool. I don't have Body Melt. That was a cool one. That's one of the cool ones I missed out on. I'm still like kind of proud of having like Ragnar getting Undertaker, because that's before like anybody knew like the Vinegar Center Sips were going to become a thing. We have Pandemonium here, which is an okay film. It's a fun little watch. It's definitely nothing groundbreaking, but it's fun cheese. Need Body Melt. Body Melt's a really good film. I love Body Melt. I watched it before it came out, like kind of like legit here in well, not here, but in Canada, because I got the screener edition of it, and I need tea. See, I'm remembering to beat myself now. The Collar is next, and not only is this a great slip, it's a great film. Where if anybody tells me to guess the ending of The Collar, I don't believe you. It's a really, really different film, and it's definitely unique in the way that it's done. So we have Old Dracula here, which I thought was really fun, but some people find it like kind of cringeworthy and cheesy. But it is what it is. It's a product of its time. Oh, not a problem. Hopefully, I'm not sure if you got to see any of the Twitch stuff or not, but me and my better half had a lot of fun. I want to get like a mic for her so that she can kind of, I'd say she could smack talk me because she really kicks my butt in the game. But she's such a sweetheart that she feels bad when she's beating me, and she will take it easy on me. She definitely does because she would slaughter the heck out of me. We played for over 7.5 hours tonight. Blood Games. Uh, this is a really good movie. If you haven't seen this one, I definitely recommend picking this one up in the next sale or just picking it up. Like it's just a good film. Slipcover's unfortunately long gone, but look at this slipcover. There's a reason for that. Look how gorgeous this artwork is. And this is such a good film. It's one that kind of swerves you because do I think to do any slips for them any of the movies that were in box sets? Not yet. Maybe eventually. Like because there weren't a lot. They didn't do like you mean like the Amityvilles or like Angel? I could see it down the road. Um, it'll be controversial because some people will be like, "Oh God, but I bought the box set, now I got to buy the slipcover." But things you can buy the slipcover on its own, and then you got to be like, "Okay, you bought the box set, and when we put the slipcover on there, are they still going to fit into the box set?" So there's different things that you're going to have to think about before they can do anything like that. Because if that's the case, then do they offer another box set that fits the slips inside of it? Does that one do if you bought the original box set? Is there like a discount? There's a whole lot of like kind of cogs for that type of thing. So I'd say not anytime in the near future, but definitely down the road. That's something that to think about because there's only so many like retro ones that they can do. Olivia, I think I have that one. We'll see that one. There's a few here that I really sent out. Here is one of the slips to Spookies. I have them both actually, but this is my favorite. I wonder why. Uh, but Spookies is a really kind of full fun title that has two great documentaries on it. A film that is in the Criterion Collection, and I kid you not, it really is. And that is this one right here, Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song by Melvin Van Peebles. It's a very good film, and but it's a very kind of like it kind of it's a black exploitation film, but it's the original black exploitation film. It's more like Melvin Van Peebles was an artist, a Renaissance man. So when he did stuff, when he created the whole genre, he created it differently. He like you'd see stuff like Shaft and like the Ruder and Moore stuff, and it's very different. This here is very much more a kind of a work of art, I guess is the best way to put it. I'll save that one for later too. Uh, Dear Dead Delilah, again, another one of these Southern Gothic titles. I enjoy this. I love the front of it. I'm iffy on the back, but it's okay. But again, it's a film that most of these films here, honestly, I truly enjoy them. House of the Dead, otherwise known as Alien Zone. Um, It's so weird because Alien Zone seems like, we wouldn't see this title in something called Alien Zone. Uh, but I really like this. I know this is very similar. I don't have Putney Swoop. That is a sweep. That swipe. That is a great release. Swoop, but that is a great release. I'll get that. I'll get that sometime. But I unfortunately don't own that one yet. But I do like the film. It was a matter of the funds at the time. We have here on Mass Part 25. I really do like the slip, and I love this film. People tend to go and think this again is going to be like this super slashery film. The comedy sometimes gets people, and I'll put some, or the talking character, the talking Jason-like character. Next up is it's actually kind of a double feature. It's Blood Theater, which comes with the Visitants as well. That's some of the Rick Sloan stuff. I'm pretty sure if this is what I'm thinking it is. It's definitely Southern Gothic. Uh, let's find out. See if I'm wrong though. Back in 1943, Luddy viciously murdered her mother with an axe. 30 years later, and freshly released from the state mental hospital, deemed cured of violent impulses, Luddy seems to be turning around thanks to a chance encounter with the family of Delilah, played by Agnes Moorehead. Yeah, I would say this is definitely kind of a Southern Gothic type. Yeah, a cheerful, grim blending of Southern Gothic stylings, murder mystery structures, and proto slasher gore. This is not Deadly Daphne's Revenge. This is actually Dear Dead Delilah. Deadly Daphne's Revenge was actually a bit of a disappointment for me. But Blood Theater, I knew what to get going in because it's Rick Sloan. He's the guy that did Hobgoblins. Here is Deadly Daphne's Revenge, one of the harder to get slipcovers. I think this was only available during the weekend that it came out. You can correct me if I'm wrong about that though. It is a like I don't mind but it's definitely I went in expecting something very different than what I got. Not to say that what I got was a bad film; it was just a different film. So I don't like the cover though. I think the slip is kind of cheesy looking. They do slips for their adult titles too, and I do have some of their adult titles. Oh yeah, actually I have that movie here somewhere. So I got the DVD edition of it, Alan. So here's Roberta Finley photographs. She was cinematographer and directed by Henry Pritchard, and it is Mascara. It is one of their adult titles, but it's one of their adult titles with a good story, good acting, and definitely a strong recommendation for me. Next up is Play Dead. I love this movie. I think it was hilarious that the dog tries to kill people in non-dog ways, so it doesn't get caught, right? But a satanic dog killing people. I truly love that one. I don't have the Mutant War slip. I actually had that one. That one was sent to me like slipless, but I had fun with it. Night Owl. Now I know this is one that not a lot of people like really enjoyed a lot. I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it, but I know I'm kind of like in the minority with that. But I definitely I do like these type of films. Yeah, it's just John Leguizamo early role for him. Karen Wexler's in this as well. Not one of the best representative slips, but I do like this film a heck of a lot. Zombie Island Massacre, the Scooby Doo of zombie films. It truly is. I kid you not. When I say this is the Scooby Doo of zombie films, no word of a lie. Next up is another of their adulter titles, and it is Justine. Again, another fantastic release. The back of it looks like it is. I'll do really quickly, but there's no nudity, so I can show you. Like a Tindall Brass type of film, but it's just a good little title, and if you like that type of film, you'll enjoy it. We have next up The Corruption of Chris Miller, underrated title. Uh, it's kind of a Giallo, sort of not a Giallo. But just go in and don't go in expecting Giallo tropes or anything like that. Just go in like expecting kind of like a bit of a character piece, a bit of thriller, and with some Giallo undertonings and leanings to it. But it doesn't follow the rules, the structure of the narrative Giallo, whether it be the Jet Set or the post Jet Set, Jerry Argento post Bird with Crystal Plumage style stuff. But an excellent, excellent one. Another one you need. It's a really cool one. Before I moved here, actually, I thought, okay, I don't need my slips anymore. I'm gonna like sell my slips. I'm gonna sell them on eBay or sell them online to like in a Facebook group or something like that. Han was like, you're going to regret this if you do because you spent a long time collecting these. She was right. She was 100% right. I'm glad I kept them. Next up is Party Line. I really enjoyed this film. I don't think enough people have seen this one, but it is what I expected more of when I started collecting Vinegar Syndrome. Is more of these kind of like these thriller, softcore, Skinemax type of films that unfortunately haven't taken off as well as I thought they would have with Vinegar Syndrome. Richard Hatch, a guy, he's fortunately passed away now. I did get to meet him. What a sweetheart he was. Richard Roundtree, Sean Weatherly, Leif Garrett, and Greta Blackburn all are in this film. Sean Weatherly is gorgeous, and she's fantastic in pretty much every film that she is in. Now, I watched her recently in Mind Games from MVD Rewind put it out, and her character of I guess the wife is the most unlikable character. Taking a Tiger Mountain was the other one that came out around the time of Night Owl. It was they were trying to this whole okay, we're gonna do some like more indie type stuff, see what sells. I know Taking a Tiger Mountain was there, Putney Swoop was there, and Night Owl was there. There might have been a fourth, I can't remember, but those were definitely some interesting titles of Vinegar Syndrome put out. And I like the fact that he diversify with that type of stuff. Next up is this is a more modern one. This again is Killer's Delight with John Carlin. 5 girls this weekend. How many next week? And really enjoyed the heck of that one. The Lamp, which I actually had under the title The Outing from Scream Factory, but this is, again, much better version of it. I had a whole DVD release, and it was like, and there's 2 on a disc type. But people will probably remember this cover if you got the Scream Factory edition. But this is a superior edition. Definitely recommend it. Here's another one you need to watch that I haven't watched. It has a very different slipcover for Vinegar Syndrome. You see a lot of them here. Like there's a little bit of gloss, right? But most of it will be kind of a matte finish. It's something that you kind of used to when it comes to Vinegar Syndrome. Something different comes along, kind of odd or unusual. So when they put it through the fire, and you guys can let me know if this is a good film. I really don't know because I don't remember seeing this one before, and I don't think I've watched it since I got it. And this is very much more. Although there's a matte finish around here, like there's a whole lot of like of gloss, and not just around here, but like gloss all around here as well. It's a beautiful looking cover, and it's another one of those that looks better in person than it does, and when you're looking at it from far away. But there you go. And I guess I'm here. The thing to do right now, before I go any further, because we have some really nice ones coming, including some out of a print one, is if you like this channel and you like the stuff that I do, please like, share, subscribe. All the stuff lets you check out the videos and see them. I have a Patreon. We have videos there, including some collection videos that are already up for patrons, and so you get those type of videos 2 weeks early, as well as some upcoming live videos that we're going to be doing, and a new podcast series that is going to be coming on there with my better half is going to be helping me with that as well. So keep an eye on that. When I Snapchat donate, Super Chat donate, fantastic. If you don't, I'm glad that you're watching, and there we go. That part's over. He Was of the Night. That is a good one. Here is the one I was asking earlier. It was Alien from Light. And this is another one that is just kind of like not really metallic, but almost looks metallic with this kind of like glossier cover. It still has that kind of it's like a solid cover as well. The beautiful Kathy Ireland is on there. And the people often wondered about the voice she used. And it was supposed to be like more of a cartoony type voice. Best slips in the game. Textures they incorporate ads. They do. That's a real thing. That like really stands out. And here is the Cardona collection. This is one of my least favorite like things that they ever put out, and also one of my least favorite slips. This is actually a little bit interesting. This is kind of hilarious, and it gives me a feeling that these movies are going to be a bit more exciting than they actually are. Maybe I'll watch these down the road and actually kind of enjoy them a bit more. But right now, I'm particularly hard on those films, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that I'm not a person that likes animal violence, and that's kind of a, a rough thing there. Next up is Surf Two. Again, this is one maybe on a future rewatch I'll enjoy it, but I didn't enjoy this very much. I watched this with my cousin, and we watched a whole bunch of these together. I miss having Raj around to watch some of these movies with because he would sit down and like suffer through some of this cheesy stuff with me, including Surf Two. And I'll tell you, there's a bit of suffering done when you're watching Surf Two. Next up is Rad. This got a lot of people that didn't know what Vinegar Syndrome into Vinegar Syndrome. In your opinion, Vinegar Syndrome slips are the only ones worth collecting. I think Severn's getting there, but Vinegar Syndrome definitely does have some of the best slips in the business. Like I wouldn't collect a slip just to get the slip itself, uh, but that's because, like money is limited, especially right now. And we went to behind the scenes. We do our like our monetization thing, and last month was like $60, but you can't take it 100. And I was like, okay, it was $60 last month. This month we got to be monetized for sure. It's going to be fantastic. I can get $100 at it. This is my birthday month. This will be great. $96. I kid you not. I was so pissed off. There's the kind of I guess get in particular side two rad, Alien Fear, Blade, Surf Two, and a bunch of other tips. The ten for 10 deal was a really good stand in silence. I picked up a bunch of like VSH during that time, and a couple of the ones that I really wanted. Here's one of my favorites. Not a lot of this has been one of my favorites, but then again, not a lot of people's favorites. And this is Pets. I really, really enjoyed Pets. I watch this film frequently. It's one of those that I saw when I was younger on VHS. Like I mentioned many times before, my mother owned a convenience store, and we got a bunch of movies. We bought a bunch of movies sight unseen from this guy, and after we got them, we opened up the box, and he said, "Oh, by the way, they were in like a bit of a like I took them into cases, and they were in a bit of a flood. So we had these movies with no titles on them, no stamps or anything on them. So I had to go through every one of the films and watch all of them to see what they were. T2000 Grave, good choice. Well, TC 2000, $10 is what you want. So we got a you took us there too just for the slip. Yeah, that's the reason to get it, man. But Pets is a really good. It's got a really nice slip as well. I recommend that one, Mike. Patty Hearst. Again, it's a Paul Schrader film. Can you believe it? Concrete Complete Series DVD box set case there. It depends on the set. Like some of them are actually pretty good, pretty well designed. It really depends on the set itself. They've gone through different like iterations of their complete series box set. So some I'll definitely agree with. Other ones I think they do better jobs with. So things like when they put it their Magnum PI set, Alan that actually has a really good one. He's finished Major Dundee and thus finished out the entire Peckinpah filmography. He really did make a bad movie. Yeah, it's true. So again, my birthday. Thank you, Alan. I'm so excited. Actually, you have no idea how excited I am. Dolly Dearest. Everybody wanted this one, and then when it came out, like not a lot of people picked it up, which is really a shame because it's a really really good film. I think it's pretty much the same transfer for Pets. Pets is a really decent film. It's underrated. I get asked about this one, so I'll leave it for later. And we have here Deadline, which is one I enjoyed more than I thought I was going to be honest with you. A lot of fun. The Deadline was a lot of fun. And the last of the erotic ones before I get to the some. I left like four of my kind of favorite ones there. I don't have Liquid Sky. I wish I did. I've seen it. It does look nice. 1001 Erotic Nights, and of course, with 1001 Erotic Nights Part Two, Forbidden Tales. I remember the Rad Frenzy was insane. Olivia, excellent film. Now there was an 80 films edition of this movie under it's under its alternative title, which is Prazi, I think. Now the 80 films edition of it though is cut. This is the uncutted version of the film. If you kind of want to know where there it is, Prazi. This is the cover, I think, on the 80 films edition of it. But it's a great little slipcover. Interesting film too. Really interesting film. I think it's Susanna Love and Uli Lommel directed film. Yeah, Robert Walker. Had a bunch of fun with this title. Miss Magnificent in 4K, but not sure it's technically possible. Depending on like how good the negative of it is, really, like what they have to work with. One of my favorites. I'm going to show you right now. As a movie fan, as a comic book fan, as a guy that read a lot of the indie comics back in the day, this one really stood out to me when I saw it. And I thought it looked good before I saw it in person. When I saw it in person, I was so glad that I got it. And a lot of people I know picked it up after I showed it in my original video. And this is Shot. Shot was a kind of almost like a student film done for about like $5,000, so done really cheaply. And it's extremely well done for the type of film that it is. And this slip is gorgeous. It has a very Robert Crumb style to it. It's very indie looking and it is very gorgeous looking. And if you ever get the chance to pick this up with the slip, oh, I've seen Miss Magnificent. Anything with Desiree Cousteau, I pretty much saw a lot of that. Okay, next up is again another one with the absolutely gorgeous slipcover, and that is Pale Blood. Pale Blood is a gorgeous looking one right here. Look at this. Media Club slip. I haven't seen that one actually, but interesting little film. And last but not least is one that went into print really quickly, and they luckily brought it back, but with it slipcover. But it's a movie that like it was an odd film, wasn't very well acted, but it really stood out to me in the time that I saw it, and that is Disconnected. I really enjoy and I really like the slipcover to this one. I think it is one of the most clever and one of the better slipcovers that I've seen them put out. Sometimes you'll have things that are going to be shiny or things that are going to like pop. Um, Pale Blood is one of those really gorgeous looking slip ones. Sand Sunset right there. But there's just something unique. You didn't like I see. I love Hot and Spicy Pizza Girls. I understand why, but I actually thought it was a lot of fun because you can take the adult sequences of Hot and Spicy Pizza Girls, and it's still like a cheesy fun film. Like it doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's a lot of fun. But Disconnected, utterly adore this film, and to go through to give you some of my favorites in the collection, and I will do that, especially for those that came late. You're going to see some of the favorites. I would definitely put Psycho Cop Returns with the badge and the silver. It is a really good film, Marty. Man, let me know what you think of it. I was going to call him Marty. Yeah, but it's definitely one of those that really stands out. Of course, if I'm going to put some of my favorites in there, I cannot not put in The Undertaker. It's just so different and so unique, and it's the very first slip that they put out. So I'm so stoked to have that one. As I am for Jack Frost, and of course the classic Demon Wind. Disconnected also hits that ones. Blood Games would definitely be another one of those slips that stands out for me as the one that I really like. And all three of them, of these here, Ruben Galando Jr. ones, but probably Cemetery Terrors is my second favorite, with again Graveyard Robbers probably my favorite for the slips. My least favorite in the slip covers for Room Galando films is going to be Don't Panic, actually. Even though I really do like the film, it's not one of my favorite slip covers. Did it really 1,666 slips? Does not surprise me, but I kind of dig that fact. Out of the newer stuff, Shallow Grave stood out as being just a really kind of like a nice looking slip. And I don't think you can talk about like really interesting slips without kind of talking about Tough Guys Don't Dance. It stands up there. It kind of reminds me of when Criterion put out Kiss Me Deadly, and it had a kind of that pop look to it. But this is looks even more. It's kind of better than that as well. As far as other ones that kind of stand out, yep, I would put my Chauffeur as one of their top slip cases, alongside the much underrated Hey There Rock Waffles Penitentiary, which nobody talks about, but which is a damn shame because they really should. And although it's a bit controversial because of the artwork, I will also put Bloodbeat there in the some of my top slips. Now, with that being said, we in just over an hour and around 71 minutes, I'm going to go for tonight because my voice is going, and to let you know what's coming up next. Well, I'm not sure. But you might be able to figure it out. So the next collection coming up, guys, is right here, and it is Indicator, one of my favorites, and I know one of George's favorite companies to collect. So with that being said, I want to thank you again, and I want to thank everybody that watches here. I want to thank my patrons, and as always, I thank them like this. Hi there. I want to give a special shout out to my amazing patrons. You guys are awesome, and I cannot wait to see you guys in the Crimson Cult again, where we can actually do some cool live chats. We got a lot coming up, and if you want to join this incredibly awesome group of people that you see scrolling down below, the link's down below. There you go. See, I am still here, even though people often go off before I do. Normally, what I do is I'll take an extra slip or take an extra movie and I'll put it in. What I will do this time, though, is I'll let you know that when they initially put out when I did my 4K video last night, I showed off all the 4Ks I had. And one of the things that was kind of neat was I was a big Pokemon person, and they had when Detective Pikachu came out, they actually gave it a Detective Pikachu Pokemon card. I still have it in its wrapping because I am that kind of guy. I want to thank you so much for watching tonight. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you here soon again because we're going to be talking about Indicator and some of the upcoming sales. And don't forget, soon there's going to be the big pre-order for Vinegar Syndrome for their halfway to Black Friday sale. And we do know that one of the things that's in that sale is a 10 movie box set. So see you soon. Take care.